So pour that in and, whoa. Oh, I should have gotten this one up before I touched everything. So maybe instead of 12, we're doing 14. That's such an odd number. I mean, it's an even number, but you know. Let's put the rest of these on. Good morning, welcome back. I am in my pantry right now. I'm working on some pantry meals. I think I'm going to make some pizza, but I am going to use some of this sweet potato and hopefully we will be able to start using through it. I'm working on this shelf right here. This is the shelf that we put together in our pantry challenge beginning, and I am just trying to use everything up through it. I have thrown a few extra things in here that we didn't have in here when we did this, but let's see if we can use up some of this stuff. Mentioned yet what I'm making, but I am making a sweet potato pizza crust with barbecue pork on top. I'm going to add in a 1 1/4 cup of warm water, and then I'm going to do that again. I just realized I'm doubling this recipe, so let's grab some more water. And then I am going to grab 4 tablespoons of sugar. The recipe calls for honey, but I'm not going to use honey because, do I want to use honey? The reason I'm thinking is because my honey is very crystallized, but it will dissolve in that. We're gonna use sugar. We're going with sugar. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have so many things out here, it's a little crazy. We're going to use some yeast, and let's see, we need, how much? And then we need 2 1/4 teaspoons, which is not quite a full tablespoon. A tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So there's the 1. And then here's another one that's not all the way full. I am going to give this a little bit of a mix and we will let it proof. While that's proofing, I am going to just mash some of these potatoes. I did just drain them. And I realized I had way too much potato out. I had 4 jars and I only needed 2. All right, let's put this in. We need a teaspoon of salt, and then 2 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of oil, which is a little bit over a 1/4 cup. And I'm thinking I probably have almost that, so let's just eyeball this. 1, I'm gonna say 2, 3 tablespoons, 4, and a little bit. Now I need to add the flours. It calls for whole wheat and all-purpose. It is 1 1/2 cups of whole wheat flour, and then 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I am doubling, so I need 3 cups of whole wheat. Okay, there's 3. And then for the 2 cups of white flour, that means that I need 4 cups. This is filling this up quite a bit. Alrighty, let's put this down. You guys, you can see me in the reflection there. That's kind of funny. I'm going to set this on just 1, I think, because I don't want it to fly everywhere. Gotta remember how to do it. There we go. I am seeing that this dough is quite wet still, which I'm not surprised because I did add those sweet potatoes, which were very wet. And so I'm going to add a little bit more flour until we get to the right consistency. And I'm probably going to start with a decent amount, actually. Okay, let's give that a try. I am going to scrape these edges down a little bit. I think it needs some help here. All right, this dough is still sticky. I think I'm just going to leave it here for a little bit because this is whole wheat flour, and whole wheat flour reacts a little bit differently. It takes a little bit longer to hydrate. So we will leave it here to hydrate, and then we will check on it again in a few minutes. I have let this sit for probably about 5-10 minutes. I'm gonna mix it again just to see if that helps with this dough being a little bit different than normal. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this dough to shape it in a ball, if I even want to do that. I think I'm not going to. I think I'm just going to cover it with a towel and let it sit to rise. The dough is still rising, and so I'm thinking of making something else, and I think I'm going to use up a can of these carrots. I'm going to make a beef and barley soup, and I need to also grab some mushrooms. It calls for celery, and I have celery frozen downstairs. It's from the garden, but I feel like this would be the perfect time to use this dehydrated celery because this is going to get rehydrated in the soup, and I'm going to try to make this in the Instant Pot, so we'll see how it goes. And then there's the barley. And I also need quite a bit of stock. I am not sure how I forgot to grab the most important part. It's the beef. Okay, beef is going over here. Alrighty, let's make this beef and barley soup. I am going to start out with, I got a little bit of all different kinds, with some stock, with 6 cups of stock. It calls for beef stock. I don't have beef stock, so I'm going to use pork, and it looks like I accidentally grabbed 1 turkey, so we're going to use 2 pork and 1 turkey. So let's just get all of these tops off. And I'm planning on freezing these in individual portions just because then it'll just be easier to take it out and eat it just on a day. I might, depending on how much there is, I might do some in a little bit bigger portions, but we'll see. I'm also not sauteing the onions. I think they'll be fine. They've been in the freezer, so they're softened already. And then we also need to add in our beef. And actually, before I do the beef, I'm going to add in the celery. I'm going to add in probably ½ cup of this dried celery, and that way it'll hydrate while we're putting the rest of the ingredients in. And I might as well put some onions in at this point too. Just changing my mind on the order. These are onions that I had just cut up and put in the freezer because I didn't want them to go bad, and it's actually super convenient to have onions in the freezer pre-diced. Whew, they smell like onions, naturally. Okay. We need to add a little bit of garlic. These are just little garlic pieces that I got at Target one day, so we're gonna use these. I didn't get the film off properly. There we go. I'm gonna use 3 of those. So we put 3 of those in. I'm just setting everything back there, and then we'll put it away in a little bit. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Doing about a tablespoon or 2. And we don't have to pre-cook our beef because we already have beef. This is the canned beef that I wanted to use up during Pantry Challenge. So we're doing a double duty. We are getting the beef used up and we're making freezer meals. Whoa, whoops. All right, 1 jar of mushrooms. And a can of carrots. Now I have canned carrots, but I need to use up these ones from the store. So that's what I'm going to use here, even though they're not my favorite, but better to use them up. Drain it out. There they go. And we need a couple tablespoons of tomato paste. And I put the tomato paste in the freezer the other day because I didn't use all of it. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a mix. All right, I just felt like I had to do a little bit of picking up. I'm gonna add some thyme and then salt and pepper and then a couple bay leaves. And then we do need 3/4 of a cup of barley. And I think this might end up being a very soupy soup, which is fine. But who knows how much the barley will plump up. A couple bay leaves. Putting 3 little ones in there. I need to grab 3/4 of a cup. And this recipe is not an Instapot recipe, but it does have like directions at the top that says see how to use an Instapot. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll try it. Now I've never done barley in the Instapot before, but I'm hoping that this is just like rice or noodles. So I'm going to use the rice setting like I always use for rice and noodles. And we're gonna see how that goes. So pour that in and whoa. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a mix and then we will put this on the rice setting and see it when it's done. All right. Alrighty, I'm going to roll out the pizza dough. It is definitely risen. I usually don't use flour, but I feel like this might need it just because it's quite sticky of a dough. Whoa. And I'm not going to use cornmeal today. I'm just going to use flour, and hopefully that's a good idea. If not, we'll know for next time. Let's dump this out. Actually, let me... Oh, I should have gotten this one up before I touched everything. Okay, so this dough should make approximately 4 pizzas regular size. So I'm going to start off by just cutting into these 4 regular size pizzas. And then I need to decide how big I want them to be because these are going to be individual size pizzas. I love doing that because we can put it in the air fryer. So I think, do I want to make them be 1/3 of a pizza or do I want to make them be 1/4? Probably 1/3. Let's do that. Let's cut these each into 1/3. I have the oven preheating to 400. We're going to par bake these, and then after they've cooled off, we'll put the toppings on. And they're not all going to be exactly the same size, which is fine. You know, that one had a lot, so I'm going to get an extra one out of that. Same maybe with this one. So maybe instead of 12, we're doing 14. That's such an odd number. I mean, it's an even number, but you know. Okay. We have them separated. Let's see, are we preheated? We are not preheated yet, so I just need to get these started. So I'm gonna push them out. I did get out my like stand rack cooler thing, so hopefully that'll be helpful. I need a fork. Do I have one out? No. Fork to poke some holes. Let's see if we can get another one ready while we're waiting on the oven to warm up. Oops. The oven's not quite preheated, but I think it's close enough. I'm going to put the first one in, make sure it's not sticking. Cool. I'm going to put 2 in there at a time, and I'm going to let them cook for about 5 minutes. 5-minute timer has gone off, so I am going to take these guys out and get them on the cooling rack. They are not all the way cooked, but they are par baked, which will be perfect for getting the rest of the ingredients on them. And now we'll just continue on and keep doing this over and over again. We are working away on those pizza crusts. I'm about halfway done with them, and then this just beeps, so let's see how it is. Ooh, it looks good. I want to see if the barley is cooked through all the way. Here we go. All right, let's see if this is cooked all the way through. I don't think it's quite cooked all the way through. I think it's close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on to simmer. Gotta find it. Sear saute. I'm gonna do that for a little bit. Let it get boiling, and that'll cook the barley a little bit more. In the meantime, I'm also going to be making a breakfast casserole. I have some English muffin bread out here that is just thawing out, and I am going to cook up 3 pounds of breakfast sausage. We only need about a pound. Not even. We only need a half a pound for the casserole. So I am just going to put the rest of this into the freezer. Turn this on low. I actually really love having meat just ready to go in the freezer cooked, especially if it's a ground meat, ground beef, ground sausage, ground whatever it is. It's just so convenient because when you're ready to make a meal, to be able to skip this step is fantastic. That's another reason why I love having canned meat, but canned meat sometimes doesn't have quite the right texture I'm looking for. Come on. Okay, I am just going to break this apart a little bit. Now this is the homemade breakfast sausage. I can link that video. Hopefully I remember to. I have about 1 minute until I need to switch the pizzas out again, and so I am just going to let this cook and continue to switch pizzas out, and if I get a spare minute, we will start working on that casserole. We have a little under 4 minutes until we need to switch the pizzas out again. But in the meantime, I am going to get this bread broken up. And so I am just going to break it into little chunks and throw it in the bottom of this 8x8 square pan. This is going to be a sausage egg muffin casserole, and it does call for cheddar cheese, and I am going to use Velveeta because I have this little block that I still need to use before it goes bad, and I feel like Velveeta is closer to like an American style that you would get on like a McMuffin from a restaurant, or not really a restaurant, from McDonald's. So we'll just get this all in here. I do have cheese out, but that cheese is actually not for this. It is for the pizzas. I would make this a double batch and put it in a bigger casserole dish, but I don't have any more eggs. I only have 6 eggs, so we will work with what we got, and we'll do just one regular recipe. All the pizza crusts have come out of the oven. They're all behind me. I'm going to let them cool completely before I put anything on them. I need to get this thing together. So this is our English muffin casserole, and I have quite a bit of meat here. We're only using a little bit. I did take some of this bread out because I'm supposed to do this in layers. So we're going to do a layer of sausage next. And if you're hearing little kids joyously screaming, that is because there's a preschool at the home next door to mine, and they are out there and they're just playing and having fun. So let's see, throw a little bit more of this. And then I think I'm gonna go a round of the Velveeta, and then we'll do some more of this, and then we'll put the like custard on top. So let me see, how do I want to do this? Okay, making sure it's still good. How would you know if Velveeta went bad? Like, I think it's still fine. So I think I want to do half on this half and half on the other half. So I am going to cut really thin pieces. Okay, I know you can't really see me there, but I'm just cutting this into little cubes. This Velveeta is left over from when I did a game night and I did like a Rotel Velveeta dip. And the reason I did that was because it was like 5 Velveeta, get the Rotel and the chips free. So I was like, all right, I was planning on getting the Rotel and chips anyways. So, all right, throwing this on here. This is a lot. That might be a lot of cheese. All right, let's put the rest of these on. Oops. Okay. Next layer. Sounds like we have Elsa outside. I probably should have broken up these sausage bits a little better. I think I forgot to mention, but I did go over and check the soup and it is fully cooked now and you can actually see where the barley is, which is fantastic. And so I turned that off. I'm just letting it cool so then I can package it up. Okay, next round of cheese. I hope this isn't too overpowering with all this cheese, but I wanted to use up what I have left, you know? All right. Here's a peek in on this soup, and it's definitely a lot more hearty now that we let that barley cook a little bit more. So it's just cooling off, and then we'll package it. Alrighty, let's make this custard. Let's get all these eggs in here. Maybe not all of them. I'm gonna leave one out. Maybe I should put that on after. We have 5 eggs in here. I'm going to add some salt and some pepper and then some water, and I'm going to add milk powder. It called for milk, so I figure milk powder and water will do the trick. Okay. Hey Milo, I love you. I'm going to pour these eggs over the top of this casserole and then stick it in the oven at 325 degrees for about 55 minutes or so. And then I will probably package this into individual portions once it cools. That way we can just have a quick and easy meal. All right, let's get it in. Our pizza crusts are now fully cool. I'm going to get them over here and just on the counter, and I'm going to make up the pizzas. I've decided to not use any onions. So we're just going to do the pork and barbecue sauce and cheese. We have sweet potato in them, so that's a vegetable, right? Make them a little healthy. Let's see here. I'm going to start with the barbecue sauce. Let's find this. I'm just going to use a spoon. And I think I'm gonna just put a dollop on each of these, and then I'll go back and spread them in. I have made barbecue chicken pizzas before, or barbecue pork pizzas. I've never made them with a sweet potato crust, so we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it goes really well. It's gonna be like evenly a spoonful per pizza, and then I have a little bit more, so we'll see which ones need a little extra. I don't want to get my sleeve in it. This was a terrible outfit choice for this. And I'm going to do the pork next, so that way the pork is sitting on the barbecue sauce, because I feel like that'll just taste better. I think I've decided on just a bowl, and then I'll put it back in after I get the pork out. Gosh. Yep, this is a job for my hands. I only have 2 left to do, so I don't want to open a whole jar, but I have the smallest bit of turkey. This is now thawed enough to get it on here, which is all I need. Last step for these is to add a little bit of cheese. I'm adding cold jack. And with that, we've officially got everything made. So I'm just waiting for the oven to finish with the casserole. I've got these, I just need to package up. Our soup is over there cooling, and our meat is ready to be packaged up as well. Alrighty, let's get these guys packaged up. I usually just do this in foil, which seems to work out just fine as long as I get enough foil. All right, next we're getting the sausage into these bags. We are almost there. This is the tail end of the freezer cooking day. Today I did not do freezer cooking like I have been. Recently I've been trying to do just one type of category of things, and it's been taking like an hour, and that's it. That's not the case today. Today I had a lot of different moving parts. I got done about the same amount, but it took a lot longer, which is fine. We still got a good amount done. I'm going to squish this up a little bit just so it's separated. A lot of these pieces are huge, and I just like them smaller. The beef and barley soup has soaked up all of the soup at this point. Let me try it and make sure that it's not too soft. No, It's delicious. I feel like it could use something, but I can't put my finger on what that is. So let's get this packaged up. I think I've decided I'm going to put some in a freezer quart and some in these individual size portions, just so we have a little bit of a variety. Just found one of the bay leaves. This is the second, oh, I found them all. I found one bay leaf earlier. I just found both of these. Perfect timing of 2 minutes until the casserole comes out of the oven. I'm going to see what I could do to tidy up in 2 minutes, and then we will see what we got. We did it. We got a bunch more freezer meals. I'm super excited. We are slowly but surely refilling the pantry, and we're doing it all while shelf cooking and using up the items that we need to in this pantry challenge. So let's recap what we got here. We have 14 sweet potato barbecue pork pizzas. Well, 12. 2 of them are turkey. We got beef and barley soup, 3 individual packs, 1 family style pack, and we also got 2 packages of cooked breakfast sausage, and then we got a sausage English muffin bake, which I'm very excited to try. I'm going to let it completely cool down, and then I'm going to cut it into probably 8 slices and then stick it in maybe 6 or 8 slices, and then I'll stick it in the freezer in individual portions as well. But this was such a success. Freezer meals make me so happy. Realistically, I don't cook dinner much. I don't cook and just have the meal. My husband and I aren't together at dinner time other than Sunday and Monday, and usually we like to eat out maybe once, or there will be other food from during the week that I've prepared and then left out. Like, for example, if I leave out the soup, we would still have the soup for the week. But we each like to eat kind of on our own throughout the week since we're on opposite schedules, and so having food in the freezer is definitely the way to go. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you. If you're interested in watching more freezer meal videos, I've done quite a few. I'll link them up here for you, and there will be 2 other videos on the end screen if freezer meal videos aren't your vibe. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.